get into it, mate. Let's have a look at this game from last night. And we've already got a lot of text messages coming in. Jimmy and Scope, what's happened to my Broncos? We're in some trouble, boys. We're in some trouble, says. Who else but JJ?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to that. But 22 points to 2 was the final scoreline. So, yes, there's a continuation of the domination of the Storm over the Broncos. But as I said earlier, mate, that is not a one-way street based on what we saw last night. Great defence, the Melbourne Storm.
Yep.
But the Broncos will feel like they might have had a chance, even with those 2 injuries.
Yeah, and credit to him. And I was listening to Belly, sort of talk about it after the game, and he said it perfectly right. Got to halftime, realised with the injuries, you get Tony Staggs in the 5'8" position, Benny Hunt. He was probably going to offer, he's still, despite, where he is now in his career and had been playing hooker for the last 3 or 4 weeks, he's still a premier halfback if you put him there and give him the opportunity. So I guess for them, the focus would have been in and around Benny Hunt.
Yep.
Trying to neutralise him as best as they can. And you just sort of knew Katoni was going to run the ball. So simplify it, get to the end of the sets. I thought it was professional because I was probably in the minority last week where I thought Melbourne did a really good job of Parramatta, just having a professional performance, getting the win.
Yeah.
I thought because of the situation, the intensity was high at the start of this game. Melbourne did a great job weathering it, coming up with a couple of big moments, continually. I love how they just continually keep going to Xavier Coates anytime they get an opportunity. And even though I found the penalty try puzzling at the back end, I don't know where you guys...
I'm okay with it.
You're okay with it?
Yeah, when I first saw it, and I heard Michael Maguire in the press conference say, yeah. When I first saw it, I went, oh, hang on, penalty try. Well, initially I thought, he's kept his arm up.
Yep.
And then they went, no, penalty try. And the more you think about it, and the way it was explained by Grant Atkins to Harry Grant, which was to Benny Hunt, which was he jumped so high above him, he would have scored it, except he's been tackled in the air. And in actual fact, he very nearly did score it. So as far as that being a penalty try, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though.
Was it your first reaction?
It wasn't my first reaction.
And would you, until you heard the explanation, do you get? Because I'm of the opinion, and look, to the letter of the law or the way the rules have been at least adjudicated on, I can see that explanation made sense to me. But in saying that, I don't think that's why the rule was brought in. Not in those sort.
Right. The tackling in the air.
When a player goes up originally competing for the ball, and then on the way down they feel like the players either got it and then they're in the motion, and there's a level of self-preservation in it, Jimmy.
Yep.
Where you start to realise, all right, now I don't have the ball. What's the next thing that's near me is a body, and I don't want that to land on me, and I also don't want that to land over top of me. Now, I think the reason, and I love the rule when it was first brought in. So players are going up like Xavier Coates and Dean. Is it Dean Mariner who was competing with him on the ball?
Yes.
I think it was Dean Mariner.
Yes.
I would hate Dean Mariner to stay planted on the ground and just try to chop Xavier Coates' legs because you know what? I'm not going to be able to go up and compete with him. I think they've got to look into the rules and go, if a player goes up for a contest and then during that they sort of fall back and there's a little bit of, minor grabbing, at the ball and a bit of self-preservation, then...
Because you think about these athletes, they're so good. They go up, I haven't got the ball. That's okay. What can I do now to mitigate a try?
And like I keep going back to, is the self-preservation part of it. It's like, if I don't, right, and you go up and compete and then you've lost and then you sort of just, go limp, then Xavier Coates is just going to finish on top of you. And you can injure yourself by doing that. Like, there's a level of risk of injury for the guy who doesn't have the ball.
Yeah. Who's the best in the league at jumping high?
Xavier Coates.
Who's the second best?
Zach Lomax.
Right. Xavier Coates jumped over the top of Zach Lomax. So the second best bloke in the comp, he can't stop Xavier Coates.
Maybe
you're saying Eli Katoa?
Daniel Tupou's part of that conversation.
Daniel Tupou. Yeah. There's your three.
Yeah.
There's your three. But they're saying Zach Lomax is saying, well, I can't stop him.
Yeah.
If the second best in the comp, top three in the comp, can't stop him, what hope does Dean Mariner have?
And this is what I want to make clear and go back to my point. I don't want Zach Lomax to not compete. I don't want him to just stand on the ground, take Xavier Coates' legs out because it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
I want him to go up and compete, and then during the during the air, and once they're, sort of coming back down, as long as he goes up to compete originally and then sort of finds himself in that position, then I think it's harsh that you end up getting a penalty try from him.
Okay, wasn't my first reaction, but sometimes my first reaction is, that's it, I've had enough, I'm going to take off and live in a caravan park up in Cairns off the grid, right, so no one can find me. But then you work your way through that, all right, Scopey? So not my first reaction.
Yep.
So the same play, Ezra Mam and Adam Reynolds do the hamstring. Just by the way, if Ezra Mam gets that ball over Xavier Coates, and I note that the Melbourne Storm have opened negotiations with Xavier Coates, so he doesn't go anywhere. He's PNG background, like he would be a perfect one for PNG. He's a out-and-out superstar now, Xavier Coates. If he gets that ball over him, then Dean Mariner scores the first try of the game. Yeah. Instead, we've got this miraculous tackle by Selwyn Cobbo on a runaway Xavier Coates. But in the meantime, Ezra Mam and Adam Reynolds have done their hamstring in their same play. It is unbelievably unlucky for the Brisbane Broncos.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. I think Vossi was saying it as well. You look at, like Adam Reynolds is probably not going to do a high-effort sprint like that for 40 minutes in the rest of the game, is he? So, like, it takes an intercept or it takes... Oh, well, he did have an intercept, actually, a couple of weeks ago, didn't he, when he took off on the Parramatta Heels?
That's right, yeah, he
maybe it was still a little bit
said,
tight from that.
Never again.
He did hit the treadmill at about the 20-metre mark in that try, so maybe that's still having the effects from that. But, what a sliding doors moment for not only the game, mate, for their season, because now... instead of looking like and fighting for a top 4 position, if they had gone on and with those two, it would have been a completely, not to say that they would have won, but they would have competed for a better result. Now it's top 8.
Stay calm, Broncos fans. Stay calm, because this is what it could look like. Corey Pakes with Tyson Smoothie coming off the bench.
Yep.
Ben Hunt at half. Billy Walters at 5'8". The rest of the team stays the same.
What about
and Josiah Karapani on the wing.
Yeah.
You don't lose a lot there.
Yeah. They are quality players, though, Jim. Like, what about young Kobe Black, the under-19s player of the match?
There's an option as well. Why does Reece Walsh throw so many forward passes?
It is just an execution problem.
Yeah.
It must be. Do you associate it potentially with the injury and not having? Since he's been back, because I feel like he's had multiple ones.
Yeah, he does.
Since he's been back. I don't remember as many before the injury.
I reckon twice Jemmet Shibasaki crowded him, just rushed him to just give him a bit of time. I'm not blaming, but I'm like this.
The first one was Selwyn Cobbo.
Yeah, well, and then the I reckon twice he did it, and another time he did it, and he said, "I can't pass it to you because you're in front of me."
Yeah.
Who was the best player on the field?
Harry was pretty good.
I agree. Harry Grant was absolutely spectacular.
I thought Money's played really nice and controlled the last couple of weeks without Jerome.
A lot of running, too. A lot of running. And Jonah Pezzett got more game time.